Chapter 3, the Needs Assessment. The objectives of this chapter are to discuss the roles of organization analysis, person analysis, and task analysis in the needs assessment, identify different methods used in needs assessment, and identify the advantages as well as the disadvantages of each method. Discuss the concerns of upper level and mid level managers and trainers in needs assessment. Explain how person characteristics, input, output, consequences, and feedback influence performance and learning. Want to look at creating conditions to ensure that employees are receptive to training. Discuss the steps involved in conducting a task analysis and analyzing task analysis data to determine the tasks in which people need to be trained. Explain competency models and process used to develop them. So, why is this needs assessment important? Training may be incorrectly used as a solution to a performance problem. Programs may have the wrong content, objectives, or overall methods. Trainees may be sent to programs for which they do not have the basic prerequisite skills or confidence to learn. Training will not deliver the expected results, and then money that is spent on these training programs will be deemed unnecessary. For the three levels of analysis, there are organization, person, and task. Who should participate in this assessment? It is important that all relevant stakeholders be involved, and we're talking about the different stakeholders that bring uniqueness and new perspectives. These are the company leaders, mid-level managers, and trainers, employees, and SME subject matter experts. You're probably not going to ask that on exam, but it's listed. How should data be collected? There are various methods where you can collect data. Now, there is not one method above the other. However, there are always limitations and strengths to each method. There's the observation, survey, interview, focus groups, and crowdsourcing, documentation, technology, and historical data review. Look at the observation. There are a few advantages. You look at the relevant data and it minimizes interruption of work. It's fairly on the job. However, the disadvantages require skills and observations. Employee behavior may be affected by observation. If someone looking over my shoulder. I'm trying to do the best of my abilities, and it may reflect wrong or just inaccurate to my overall behavior. Look at the survey. This one is inexpensive, can collect a large number of data, and it is easily collected and summarized. However, the disadvantages are that it requires time. There are potential of low response rates. Let's say I make a survey and two people respond out of 500. That's like 3%. So it's maybe a waste of time and it may lack detail as most likely most surveys are not open ended and they provide information directly related to only questions asked. For an interview, this one is good at uncovering detail. It can explore unexpected issues, and the questions can be modified and customized to the employee. However, the disadvantage is obviously it's difficult to analyze sometimes. You need skilled interviewers, and most importantly, it's very time consuming and difficult to schedule. Look at the focus groups and crowdsourcing. The advantages are that that it is useful for complex or controversial issues, can explore unexpected issues while reducing risk from training that is originally rejected by stakeholders. Again, the disadvantage would be that it's time consuming to organize and the group may only provide socially desirable responses. For example, say you're taking assessment where it's from 1 to 7, they might always pick from like 5 to 7. No one wants to put the 0 to 1. They're not real haters like myself. For documentation, look at advantages. There's a good source of information. There is an objective and is a good source of task information for new jobs and job created in the process. Creation in the process, sorry. And disadvantages are that it may be difficult to understand and potentially who's looking at documentation now, it may be obsolete. Historical data review, there are advantages where it provides data related to performance and practices. However, the disadvantages are that the data may be inaccurate, incomplete, or not fully reflective of performance. For an organization analysis, there are three factors to determine if training is the appropriate solution. There's the strategic direction for the company. There's the social support to ensure that individuals are motivated to even train, learn, and then maybe even transfer that information. And then you have to look at the available training resources, would include time, and then the employee or trainer expertise. For person analysis, this helps to identify who needs training. It's also known as the gap analysis, which involves determining what is responsible for the differences between current and expected performance, the gap, no Kanye. And it also involves obtaining a variety of information on people's characteristics, inputs, outputs, consequences, and feedback. For the basic skills, these are necessary for employees to learn training content and perform successfully on the job. And you need a level of literacy, and of course, a literacy audit can be used to assess the employee's basic level. For the cognitive ability, this relates to intellectual capacity and overall intelligence. This includes verbal comprehension, quantitative ability, and reasoning ability. Assessing cognitive ability is important because it is one of the strongest determinants of training success. Reading ability. Now, training material should be evaluated to ensure that the guy can read. If the trainee's reading ability is low, use other training methods, reassign trainees to different positions, and provide remedial training. You can't be having workers out there looking like Floyd Mayweather. He can't even read a Harry Potter book, but that's besides the point. Looking at self-efficiency. This relates to trainees' beliefs that they can master training content and perform on the job. If trainees lack confidence, motivation will suffer ultimately. Enhancing self-efficiency. You want to let trainees know the goal is to improve and not to reveal what they are lacking in as the main focus. You want to provide information about training prior to the program. You want to describe the success of peers, emphasize that learning is under trainees' control, and to emphasize that trainees have the ability to overcome obstacles. Again, motivation. Needs, career interests, and goals. Awareness of training needs, career interests, and goals enhance motivation to learn. The link between training and areas where employees need to be improved, obviously, should be emphasized. Look at the age. There's biological evidence that certain mental capacities decrease from age 20 to age 70. However, with more age, you get more experience. Trainers may need to adapt training design and deliverables accordingly. Now, look at the input. Input is simply the resources that employees need to help them learn. Situational constraints include lack of tools, equipment, materials, supplies, budgetary support, and time to perform. Social support refers to the manager and peer willingness to provide feedback and reinforcement. Outputs. These are the job performance outcomes. Therefore, it is important to assess employee perceptions of performance expectations. Trainees need to understand the level of expected proficiency. Look at the consequences. This is the type of reward that employees receive for performing well. Hold up. If employees do not believe rewards are adequate, motivation will suffer. Motivation to learn can be enhanced by communicating the job, personal, and career benefits of learning. Look at feedback, which refers to the information that employees receive. Simple. Employees need specific and detailed feedback, and it also needs to be frequent so that they can continue to improve their performance and adjust off of what they know. Is training the best solution? Is the performance problem important, and does that outweigh how much it will cost? Perform effectively? Can employees demonstrate the correct knowledge of behavior? Were performance expectations clear? Were positive consequences offered for good performance? Did employees receive appropriate feedback? And were other solutions too expensive or just overall unrealistic? Now, looking at task analysis. This is the result in a description of the task to be performed and the knowledge, skills, and abilities required to perform. A job is a specific work position involving the completion of a defined set of related tasks. Task is a specific work activity that is a component of a job. It's under the job. KSAO. Sound like a Korean national team. To complete a task, employees must possess the necessary KSAOs. Knowledge includes facts, figures, and procedures. Skill is the competency to perform a task. Ability refers to the physical and mental capabilities. Other requirements include conditions under which tasks are performed. KSAO, knowledge, skill, ability are the requirements. Now look at the task analysis steps. You want to select a job to be analyzed. You want to develop a preliminary list of tasks to be analyzed, validate the list of tasks with SMEs, and after the most important tasks have been identified, identify the most important KSO, knowledge, skills, abilities, others. Competency models. A competency model identifies the competencies necessary for a given job. It provides descriptions of competencies, damn, that's a big word, that are common for an entire occupation, organization, job family, or a specific job. They're useful for a variety of HR practices, including recruiting, selection, and training and development. Now, these models are valuable because they identify behaviors needed for effective performance. They provide a tool for determining what skills are necessary to meet current and future needs. They help to determine what skills are needed at different career points. They provide a framework for ongoing coaching and feedback, and they create a roadmap for developing future managers while providing a common set of criteria to identify training activities. Developing a competency model. So the scope of the needs assessment. Often managers and trainers may avoid conducting a needs assessment. They may provide a variety of excuses. It costs too much. I ain't got the time for this. A lot of other stuff. Without conducting a proper needs assessment, training will not be well targeted and may just be wasted overall. Needs assessment in practice will not collect all information presented in the text, but should be tailored to the situation at hand. Due to time constraints, sometimes a rapid needs assessment would be appropriate. Rapid needs assessment refers to the needs assessment that is done quickly and accurately without sacrificing the quality. And that seems to be the end of the chapter. I'm not going to 20 discussion questions.